Yeah, so I'll address some things that I've heard that aren't necessarily legitimate, but at the same time, I've heard them from more than one source. So, number one would be Joe Brady leaving the NFL and coming to Miami.
Well, Joe Brady doesn't like recruiting, and and you got to live and breathe that at this level. And he was one of the names early on after we brought on Mario Cristobal and fired Manny Diaz. Um, he's from Pembroke Pines. He went to Flanagan High School out in Pembroke Pines. Which was I have a friend who was in the first graduating class from there. Shout out to Mark Bianco. Um, and they were terrible. They were terrible forever. And then what's his name went out there? Jesus, Devin Bush Sr. And brought Devin Bush Jr. and Stanford Samuels, Boosie, and then S3 and all them boys with them, and they were able to get the. I think they got one state championship out of that run of just having all those guys there who would all otherwise be going to you name the other schools, Central Northwestern, Miramar, which was basically a Dade County school for that time, Carroll City, wherever else. But they had that over there. And I just say that that's where Joe Brady went to school. So he's from down here and everything. And somebody said, oh, he was a Hurricanes fan growing up, if he's in his 30s, so like he was in his teenage years when Miami got back to dominating around the turn of the century and everything. That makes sense. But yeah, if he doesn't really want to recruit, like, so what really do you do here? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you can scheme up some plays. I know you're a great offensive mind, but like, it's more than just that at this level. And I don't believe that he's gonna be coming this way. I think he's gonna be looking to stay in the league.
Although what the pushback to that would be simply that he was doing that at LSU. So why were they able to accommodate him there?
Well, yeah, he was the passing game coordinator, and it was 1 year. And that, I mean, they had an incredible amount of talent. He didn't necessarily have to go and build that talent. It was ready made for someone to come in, scheme up some stuff, take full advantage of the talent that was there, and use that as a springboard that he did to move on elsewhere. So that would be that. Like, he wasn't there for 5 years and then grew and developed that team, recruited all those players, got Joe Burrow to transfer in, coached him up for a couple of years. He wasn't there for the creation and the building of that roster. That roster was ready-made, and Ensminger, their OC, could have used a little bit of help with diversity and exoticism in the passing game. And then Joe Brady was like, hey, yo, I got you. And they were like, you know what? Cool. And they did explosive numbers, and everybody moved on.
Folks, this is what we do on Wednesday nights. So be good to us and smash the like button. Also consider the super chat right here at the Voice of College Football on this show. And certainly go out there and grab some other folks to come on here tonight and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. If you subscribe and hit the bell for the notifications, you know when we go live, because every so often we need to veer off schedule. The other fascinating, potentially, if there's any substance to it, move that would be made is that, of course, Oklahoma quarterback Caleb Williams actually, as of earlier today, had not technically hit the transfer portal, even though he had announced it on Twitter. I guess he had not yet done so, but the obvious connection there is he was recruited and signed by Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley is a master developer of quarterbacks and offenses. You would think he would trail him to USC. So that was the default answer by most people. Hey, and then there are the obvious spots that, okay, where are top 15 to 25 type programs that have quarterback absences? Okay, we can target some of those places. And then I got hit with Miami a few times, and I thought, that's kind of strange. Tyler Van Dyke's there. Why would there be and I think the level of quarterback play has gotten to a point where you're going to have competition almost everywhere if you're going to play at a high-level program.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking elite. I'm just talking about a decent to good Power 5 program. The quarterback level of play, I just think there's so many good quarterbacks out there compared to 20 years ago. Anyway, can you in any way fathom Caleb Williams coming to Miami?
No, I really can't. And I know that you're going to go and compete, and I'm not going to run away from anybody or anything, but he's going somewhere to play. He's going somewhere to play, like right now. You know what I mean? And Miami has one of the handful best quarterbacks in the country in Tyler Van Dyke. And I know people are going to say, well, Cam, you said that about Derek King. And Derek King got injured. He clearly got injured with his shoulder, and he clearly was not the same player coming back off of the knee that he'd been previously. But before that knee in 2020, he was playing to that level. And there were plenty of games and plenty of moments that spoke to that. And especially with the offensive line being the sieve that it was and the magic that he made, I was not wrong about that. It just did not continue moving forward. And those things happen. But Tyler Van Dyke, man, he's on the longest run of 300-yard games with, multiple touchdowns that any ACC quarterback's been on since, what is it, Sunshine? Before, or more than Sunshine, Lawrence? You know what I mean? Like and of any ACC quarterback ever, and I know you're talking about, well, Miami's only been in the ACC for so long. Cool, but as long as you go back with the ACC, no other quarterback but one has done what Tyler Van Dyke is in the midst of doing, right? So this is one of, the 3-5 best quarterbacks in the country, and I'm going to stand on that. So, yes, he does need to get better. Yes, he is doing what he needs to. He did what he needed to do when he got the playing time and everything, and whatever. He needs to continue to do that and develop and improve, because that's where, like we've talked about, Clemson over time, where they had generational quarterback after generational quarterback, but those guys got better every single year as well. It wasn't just they came in as freshmen and they stayed the same. They did get better. And Van Dyke does. But I say all of that to say, where's Caleb Williams playing? Here. Could he usurp Tyler Van Dyke? Yes. Right. But there's nobody on the roster at USC. There's nobody on the roster at any of these other places that have any kind of conversational caliber connection with the Caleb Williams. He's going to go any of those places and start, but then he would come here and then go up against one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And hey, look, maybe he's that kind of dude and says, F that noise. I'm coming down to Miami. We're going to battle it out, and whoever, wins the job, wins the job. I think that would be an interesting level of – it would be interesting in terms of talent acquisition, because, yes, you need one every year, and we did get Ja'Cory Brown, and then you're going to add Caleb Williams on top of that with, Jake Garcia and Tyler Van Dyke. That would be – from Miami's side of things, I would rather use that scholarship somewhere else that really needs the help right now. Defensive line, offensive line, linebacker, places like that. So, no, I don't see a real way that he would come here or anything like that. But it does kind of just speak again to the power of the U logo, because, you make big moves and you get in Mario Cristobal and all these other coaches that he's bringing in with him from Oregon, and then going to go out and fill out the rest of the staff from elsewhere. And, Miami is still a legacy program. I know that the legacy only goes back to the 80s and not the 1880s like some other schools, like, hey, Michigan, but and I say that because I grew up as a Michigan fan, if you didn't know that. But it's a legacy program. We have the name Miami, the U logo holds weight in this universe, and that's why I think that you're seeing people saying Miami for Caleb Williams, when I don't necessarily see that as being realistic or reasonable. But hey, I've been wrong before.